So I've come back to pretty much where I started Project Unity, which is in this forest talking to the camera. I wanted to do this because I've had a crazy journey going through this field of study. I've been fortunate enough to get connected to all sorts of different people. I've had fascinating discussions, amazing interviews, and I feel very privileged and fortunate to have been put in that position, and it all just kind of came out of nowhere for me. But I started this project, started this channel, literally here, talking to the camera, and essentially trying to articulate and understand myself, and through that journey try and get other people to understand the legitimacy of consciousness and its ability to initiate some form of contact with this phenomenon through coherent thought, through your intentions and your desire to initiate a form of contact. This is what spawned everything for me, because I did have success. I've seen things with my own eyes that are so beyond what we see on our day-to-day, that I just knew that I had to talk about it. So everything started through that vein of coherent thought, through coherent protocols, through conscious initiated contact. And as I've kind of gone through this journey, I've picked up all sorts of things along the way, contacts and people that I speak with. I've been advised by different people. I have, like I said, had the fortunate ability to network and communicate with a lot of different people who are respected in the field. And I have to admit, of late, I've become in some way frustrated, in some way, just because what I know in my heart to be real, the things that pushed me into this area of study, the things that changed my life, they're the hardest thing to communicate. It's difficult to talk about. People don't understand on a whole. You've got a niche within the UFO community niche that respect and understand this level of experience. But as I have progressed, as I have gained more of a reputation, I suppose you could say, a level of credibility in the field of researchers and content creators, I've almost feel I almost feel as if I'm pressured to not talk about those things because of the journey we're all going through now with the modern disclosure, which is very bare bones, and it's just dealing with the data, military incursions, penetrations of secure facilities, the shadowing of carrier strike groups into the Middle East theaters. See, I can talk about that stuff all the way now. The kind of language and terminology that I was never privy to before, I'm now quite fluent in, and I can talk about the issues circa 2017 to present day. I can talk about the New York Times and AATIP and incursions and all this stuff, and I think it's really important to be able to articulate that, and I think it's important that we bring that forward to a new generation of researchers, a new generation of people in the public who are now getting interested in this topic because of the things that have come to pass since 2017. But I just I don't know, I'm finding myself almost pressured to not talk about what originally got me so interested and fascinated in this conversation. The very fact that I have seen some aspect of this phenomenon, orange orbs of light coming down from the sky, hovering above my house, which was only brought on because I was going out into my garden and using my mind, and in my mind projecting out messages and asking for something to respond, and it did. That has changed my life, and I feel I feel like almost the more I've had to embed myself into the modern conversation, the more that's washed away. You know, it's like, oh no, I shouldn't talk about that kind of stuff. It's too weird. You know, people won't understand it. New people who are coming into this topic might not understand it, and you know, it might affect my credibility. It might affect my reputation. You know, is that? And that's caused a problem for me. It's like, what's more important? Is it more important that I convey my truth as I see it? Or is it more important that I serve the agenda of sensible discourse, modern conversation, data-centric conversation about all the things I was just saying, you know, secure facilities and incursions with UAP and you know, the Senate Intelligence Committee and the political discussion? I think that that's really important that I do that, and people have made me aware that my voice is appreciated, that I'm able to explain and articulate this in a way that is palatable to more people. So I love doing that, you know, do not get me wrong, I love doing that, but I've come back to this forest today to kind of recapture what I was doing before, because for me, ultimately, this is a spiritual journey, and there are going to be people who listen to that who don't appreciate the way that I'm talking. But I'm sorry, subjectively for me, on a personal level, yeah, this is a spiritual journey. Because I asked for something to come into my life that was representative of the views and ideas and beliefs that I had, and something came into my life that was representative of the views and ideas and beliefs that I had. And from that point, I have had experiences that have opened my eyes. And again, that is the reason why I have created Project Unity, because my eyes have been opened to a new reality. And it just feels more now because of, and you know, please, I'm not trying to sound egocentric here, but I have garnered a level of respect and credibility, and that in of itself has put me in an awkward position sometimes, because I feel like I can't speak my truth without other people taking that statement or taking that belief and either attacking it or misrepresenting it. And you know, it kind of feels it kind of feels like my personal fascination with this topic has become more of a professional obligation, all right? And there's nothing wrong with that, because I do appreciate the kind of professional aspects of this, where I'm covering emerging news, emerging data, but I don't want to lose myself in just that, because I know that there's more. You know, not everyone is, I've said this before as well, it's a gift and it's a curse. Not everyone has seen the phenomena. Not everyone especially has seen the phenomena in a way that would seem to reflect the capabilities of consciousness to initiate that contact. You know, I'm one of those people that has made that attempt and had success in it. And, you know, because of that, it's extremely important to me, and I just don't want to lose sight of, you know, of that aspect of my journey. And I don't know, it's, you know, it's like being on Twitter, being on the Twitterverse, the UFO Twitterverse. It can be bloody stressful, you know, and people just want to focus on a certain thing and not deviate from that, and I understand. But for me, I'm just trying to find the balance. I'm trying to strike the right balance between covering the professional emerging news and data, which I do enjoy doing, but also keeping myself grounded in what I know to be real. You know, I would have never thought I'd come this far. I was talking to James Rigney literally just an hour ago, talking to him, you know, and sharing my concerns and stresses. And, you know, he agreed that, you know, sometimes you got to take a step back and just reset yourself and, you know, find your enthusiasm again. he just agreed with me that you've got to do what you feel is right. You've got to embed yourself into this subject in a way that feels applicable to you, and that core keystone aspect of Project Unity has always been that you are able to initiate some form of contact, that consciousness does operate non-locally, absent the physical body, can travel beyond that. Information can be gathered on what we call a quantum level, the exchange of information non-locally. And somehow that does tie into the phenomena, some aspect of it. We don't know what this is yet, but some aspect of it ties into consciousness. And before I was embedded into the UFO subject, I was embedded into consciousness studies and the getting different ideas on consciousness through spirituality and metaphysics and quantum mechanics, and it's just put me in a position now where I want to be able to talk about what I want to be able to talk about, but at the same time now I feel like I need to kind of take an approach and go, right, well, if I talk about this, how are other people going to feel? Will this affect my ability to get an interview? Will this affect my ability to network with people that don't believe in that kind of stuff? And that to some extent frustrates me, because I want to be free in this, and I don't want to be restricted. I don't want to restrict myself just based on the need to appear credible or respectable to people that haven't had the same experiences as me. I want to be a professional voice in this field. I want to be a credible voice in this field. I want to be a platform where, someone who is a PhD in quantum mechanics or consciousness studies, or an intelligence person, a defense or aerospace professional, any one of these people, I want my platform to be a professional space where they can have a calm and intelligent conversation with someone about these issues. And I don't want to restrict myself. This is a real heart-to-heart that I'm having with all of you right now, because I've been on a hell of a journey over the past year and a half, and I just want to make sure I don't lose myself and lose my initial passion and my initial drives based solely on the need to appear credible or respectable to people who, like I said, have not had the same experiences as me, and perhaps doubt that those experiences are possible. And again, it comes back to Twitter mainly. UFO Twitter is a fantastic information highway. It's one of the first places where data drops and starts to circulate. And so I need to use it as a tool. In order to present information to everyone else that might not be using those types of platforms. That's why I do the UAP News videos, the UAP News, the latest drops videos. That is me trying to, get that information out into another medium, onto another platform like YouTube. But I just don't want to lose myself in the need to be respectable and credible and serious. And Jay from Project Unity will give you a serious interview, and it's true, I will. I will always strive to give a professional interview, to articulate my own views and opinions in a professional way. And more I've tried to manage how I speak, and this is why I'm doing this video now, where I haven't got anything written down. I'm just rolling off of the top of my head, and I'm just talking about how I feel, because how I feel at the moment, admittedly, is somewhat apathetic, a little tired. I want this subject to permeate into a wider audience, and I absolutely respect and agree with the necessity to, in some ways, dilute what we as a community know or believe to be real in order to present information that is digestible and palatable to a wider audience, a wider demographic, a mainstream audience, the people that are not already embedded in this subject and, by default of not being embedded in this subject, will not be able to digest some of the more hardcore, more advanced issues, especially around consciousness. So I understand that, and I want to play my role in helping people get into this in the shallow end and wading out into the deep end eventually. You know, that is important. But I, to some degree, am already in the deep end, you know, because I've had experiences. My eyes and my mind and my entire reality has been opened up by having these experiences. And because of that, I'm just trying to figure out how to strike the correct balance, you know, between what people would call the woo-woo stuff and the materialistic, data-centric, nuts and bolts stuff. Because both of them are important to me, but the former, consciousness, contact, quantum information exchanges, all of this, you know, all these lovely terms, that really is important to me. And I think that that is the keystone issue of this problem, of the UFO issue, of the phenomena. I think that at the ultimate level, that is the primary issue. What is going on with consciousness and our ability, apparently, as physical-bodied human beings with a conscious mind, to move our consciousness outside of our body and interact with some other intelligences. That, to me, is the biggest thing. And I'm just trying to, like I said, I'm going round in circles a little bit, but it's because this is my thought process at the moment, is how do I communicate that whilst also communicating the data, the nuts and bolts, the modern emerging news, and maintain my credibility in the eyes of people that have not had these experiences and are therefore going to be like, whoa, you know, what's this guy talking about? I didn't expect it to be this difficult. I came into this subject totally naive, you know, ignorant to what people are like within the UFO community. I didn't expect to feel pressured to not be able to talk about consciousness and contact and this type of thing. And some of it does have to do with the fact that CE5 is extremely controversial now, and for good reason. I don't blame people who go, oh, CE5 is a bunch of nonsense because of Greer. I'm sorry. You know, I genuinely do respect Stephen Greer for his initial catalyst for me, because he was one of the primary kind of catalysts for me getting into this subject and then having contact. But he has damaged the idea of CE5 because of the way he, you know, the way he capitalizes on it. I'm not trying to capitalize on it. I don't believe in that. And I want to be able to talk about those things without being thrown into a camp, you know, without being thrown into, oh, you're just a CE5 cultist, because I'm not. I'm very much my own person. And I have my own opinions and I put them forward. But more and more I'm feeling as if I can't talk about that kind of stuff because of the current conversation that's going on in what we could now call mainstream ufology. You know, I love doing what I'm doing. I love it. I'm so grateful that I was shown things that unlocked this part of my mind and has given me the ability to convey information, network with amazing people. You know, I'm now colleagues and friends with individuals that I would have never expected to be in contact with, and I am so grateful for that. I just need to try and understand the best way to go forward with this whilst respecting my own personal interest, my own personal fascination with this, because, you know, it's not just about me anymore. I think that's what kind of is freaking me out a little bit, is my platform and the things that I do are no longer just about me and my personal feelings and views and beliefs. I am now a platform that is representing the UFO issue as it's going forward in a modern discussion, which, again, I'm happy to do. I'm not resentful of that. What I am somewhat resentful of is the feeling within myself that I can't be as honest about my beliefs and my ideas without it being taken the wrong way or just seen as damaging. I think that's the main thing, from other people going, oh, you shouldn't talk about this because it's damaging to what we're trying to get out now into the public. So how do I strike the balance between my personal views and potentially damaging the discussion because of my personal views compared to the more somewhat prosaic, in comparison to consciousness, the more prosaic explanations of advanced aerial platforms and incursions, and I just want to be who I am. I want to be original, I want to be me, and more often than not now I'm feeling as if I'm a spokesperson and I'm not giving so much of my own opinions, which is not cool for me. I don't like that. It's not what I got into this for. And people can be so this is all I really wanted to say in this video is I've come back to this forest because this is where I first started filming videos, where I was passionately talking about consciousness and contact and how you can do it as well, because I do believe you can. I do. I really do believe that. And when I was doing those videos, I was not networking with intelligence people or defense people or high-level journalists or anything like that. I'm now in that position, so it's kind of like, okay, how do I talk about this without these people thinking I've gone crazy, and how do I talk about the things that I know are real without being misrepresented? So I thought I'd make a video about this, just to kind of let you all know how I'm feeling, because I love what I'm doing, but I just want to make sure that I'm doing it in the way that is accurate and is in alignment with my own way of wanting to talk about it, with my own beliefs, with my own ideas. I don't want to get lost, I don't want to sell myself out and go, oh well, I'll just talk about the modern stuff and I'll just leave the consciousness thing behind. I'll forget all about the fact that I've seen the phenomena. I've seen it with my own eyes. Nah. Can't forget that, won't forget it, will not ever leave that at the doorstep. Because that's the literal reason why I started all of this, because I made contact. I made contact with something. I don't know what it was. I would never pretend to tell you what it was. I wouldn't even pretend to tell you I know exactly how that contact got initiated. But what I'm telling you sincerely from the bottom of my heart is that I had contact with something. So I know it's real. I know that consciousness can initiate this type of contact. And I don't want to let go of that. Don't want to let go of that, regardless of stigma, regardless of, Messiah type characters that try and capitalize on CE5 and stuff like that. That's their problem. I know that it's real. And I just don't want to let go of that and swap it out for just being a spokesperson for emerging news. That part of it is extremely important to me, but the consciousness side really binds me together. So yeah, that's all I really wanted to say. I just felt the need to come back to the kind of origin point and talk about this to all of you who I respect. And I appreciate all of you so much, because none of this would be happening without the people who are actually watching me and listening to me and paying attention. And I am so grateful to all of you. I'm so grateful to my Patreons for the very fact that people actually want to pay me on a monthly basis. It blows my mind. It really does. I never thought that people would be so interested in that. And it's never been about money, and it never will be about money. But it's just very affirming, and it makes me feel good about myself that people are willing to do that, because it makes me think, well, I'm on the right track, I'm doing something right. And so I don't want to deviate from my path of what I'm doing, but I also just don't want to lose that part of me that started this, because that really is important to me, really, really is important to me. So yeah, thank you for listening. I hope it hasn't been too much of just me rambling. But I kind of wanted to go back to just rambling in the forest for a minute, you know, instead of professional interviews and stuff like that. Just wanted to come into the forest and ramble at the camera. So I hope it's been somewhat enjoyable for me to do that. Take care, and I will see you next time, most likely with a professional interview. In fact, we've got Brandon Fugel coming on soon from Skinwalker Ranch, which is going to be awesome. And I've also got Duncan Trussell, who's an awesome comedian, the creator of The Midnight Gospel on Netflix. And that's going to be kind of the first non-UFO related person I've ever had on. Now, we're going to talk about UFOs, we're going to talk about the phenomena, we're going to probably talk about consciousness. You know, I'm really looking forward to that. So that's going to be great. But yeah, he's like the first person that I'm having on that is not, you know, explicitly a part of the UFO community. So that's going to be really cool. But yeah, I will see you all in the next video, whatever that video may be. And I hope you have a lovely day. Take care of yourself, and I will speak to you soon.